The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
This is PBA champion Kyle Troop.
Hey y'all, Jacob Wetrup here.
Jeff Riggles here from 11thframe.com.
Hey guys, Chuck Ritchie here, formerly of Bowl TV.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Schaefer of track staff at Valley Bowling Center in Waverly, New York.
And you're listening to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Yo, the boys from Straight Up 5, Rad Rob, Dr Ocho, and of course JP Jr.
Pick it out. Fear the fro, baby.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. A hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the world of bowling. This podcast will not only cover all things bowling, but will also give you a raw look into real-life issues. You'll get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this or any other generation.
Strike, and they claim it. Similarly does it.
So without further ado, let's introduce you to the hosts of the show. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Dr Ocho. Dr Ocho. And the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr. Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Where am I? Wait, hold on. Where am I? Why can't I see my face? There we go. Hey, guys. Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. I'm your host, Rad Rob, Rob Francois. This is episode 106. We're going to be talking about Bowlero. I alluded to last week, Jeff Riggles had a post about how horrible Bowlero is. We'll tell you why they are now. I mean, we know they are for many, many reasons, but this new one really just kind of shocked me. So, good evening, Linda Camp, John Sperone. Bowlero blows. Yes, absolutely right. Chuck Ritchie, what's going on, brother? All right, let's not ado anymore. Let's bring in my first co-host. He is not with my second co-host, or the star of the show, actually. They are separate tonight, which is unfortunate. But they're still both here. Let's welcome the man with the golden mask, the largest peaks, Twin Peaks. That was a great show, by the way. What's up, Crambone? Yeah, I got nothing. I've literally introduced this guy probably about 215 times over my illustrious podcasting career, so I'm just running out of things to say about him. So, hello, Dr. Ocho.
How about stop trying to be funny when you're not? And Rob, do me a favor. Go on the Facebook post of a Straight Up 5 and do it as a write-in. Don't even do it as a vote. When you said, "Where am I?" I want everybody to write in and guess where Rob is. And I'll bet you we have a 99.9% of one thing, maybe a 0.01% of five guys.
Also joining us is the man with the name of the marquee. He is number 7 in the program, number 1 in your hearts, the sexiest man in the world. Straight from the Petraglia Senior residence, Mr. Johnny Petraglia Jr. What's going on, JP?
What up, boys? Good to be back as always.
Good to see you, sir. You're looking trim and fit today. I assume you're hitting the gym regularly. Look at those guns, John.
Yeah, he's got a smedium shirt. Anybody could do that with a smedium. It's fine.
Yeah, he's right.
I have a 5X, but
I gave it
to a good shirt.
That's fair.
Sits on me well.
Hello, Peacow. Hello, Steph. What's going on, Fef? Is Dr. Ocho the most mysterious man in bowling?
He's badass is what he is. He goes out, shoots 780, 720, got freaking like with inferior equipment, like when Phil Mickelson said Tigers win in tournaments with inferior equipment. That's what Ocho does. Man, what if Ocho got a ball drilled? Can you imagine that?
Can you imagine
if Ocho got something drilled to his specs of freaking he's a David Ozio in disguise, except he's jacked and juicy as hell.
Speaking of David Ozio, we need to get him on the show as well. There's so many former not former champions, but yeah, they're all former champions. But I mean,
I got the name right.
Legends from the 80s and 90s that I'd love to talk to. But
yeah, if we ever have, this is not a knock on David because he is a friend, but if we ever have like a good 5-hour segment, we'll have Dave on.
A good old Derek Michaud show, right? For
Danny Wiseman on steroids.
The man is long-winded and intelligent, and that makes for pretty long answers.
Jeff Cox is here. He says, I'll bowl Ocho, and I'm old.
You should.
I won't bowl Ocho and Howell. I'll tell you that.
You shouldn't.
Sperone says, we wear caps and sleeves at this level, Ocho.
Yeah, this ain't the California Penal League, but I do what I want. And I feel like a banker when I wear shit like this.
So, hey, Moselle Henry. Hello. Welcome. I have a food story real quick before we get into the bowling.
Shocking!
Can't wait to hear it.
Did you even have to say it? Did you even have to, even intro that?
Go on.
I went.
Tell your story, sappy. Jesus Christ.
I went to McDonald's tonight.
Shocker again.
I'm actually got
again. Could have been just. This could be a
sorry,
Mad
sorry.
I went to noun, and or this should be a Mad Libs, and 100%. I got the adjective
100%
in the bathroom.
Can I go now?
Yeah. So you're at McDonald's.
I went to McDonald's, and one big pet peeve I've had about McDonald's for the last few years is they changed their quarter pounder patty to fresh beef, which and kept the rest like regular, I guess, like their double, their cheeseburgers and double cheeseburgers and all that are the original meat, I guess.
Does it actually not taste good for real? I'm not even kidding. So the fresh beef don't taste as good as
it changed the flavor of what I'm used to as McDonald's. Like it doesn't taste like McDonald's anymore, and my wife likes it, and she hates McDonald's. So that tells me right there that there's something wrong with it. But that being said, I actually ordered one tonight. But for the first time in my life at a McDonald's, I didn't order it the way it came. I actually ordered it with mayonnaise, which I've never had from McDonald's.
You tried to make a Whopper, basically.
I tried to make a Baconator, honestly. I had mayonnaise, ketchup, and bacon and onions. But I threw onions on there. And let me tell you this. It changed the way I feel about the quarter pounder. Actually, it made it somewhat edible.
Rob, you strike me as a dollar menu guy, though.
They don't have it.
Or you're a meal guy, right? The fries, the soda, and all that.
Yes. And there's not really a dollar menu anymore, honestly.
Once they started, so they used to charge $1 for 4-piece McNuggets, so you get 8 McNuggets for $2, and 6 McNuggets were like $2.80.
Yep.
So I used to take good advantage of that. It's protein and it builds muscle when you actually exercise.
There you go.
Which I should.
That's right.
But they have the dollar menu is now like the $8 menu, because I used to walk out with $4 worth of stuff and have like 4 McDoubles, 2 McChicken sandwiches, all the barbecue sauce, and their barbecue sauce is the best thing ever. Let's be honest. They should package it and put it in the damn store.
We've had that discussion. McNuggets with barbecue sauce is life-changing.
I'm a sweet and sour guy too, but just the barbecue sauce in itself, I put it on if I have a piece of grilled chicken, I will put McDonald's barbecue sauce on it, and it's wicked.
I've never
awesome.
tasted a barbecue sauce that tastes like McDonald's barbecue sauce.
It's nothing. There was something about it. It's like got this weird tang. Maybe they put some honey in it. Maybe it's a brown sugar stuff. And let's get it to the lab.
If I'm not mistaken, though, the packaged barbecue sauce is not the same as the barbecue sauce they use for the McRib, because I don't care for the barbecue sauce.
Totally different.
Yeah, it doesn't even.
No, the McRib is the greatest sandwich ever.
I mean, it's good, but it's not the same.
Totally different. Yeah.
It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be like lunch cafeteria style, man.
In any event, if you haven't tried mayonnaise on a burger at McDonald's, I suggest it. It's actually pretty good.
Now you guys got your health tip for the week now. So
yes, exactly. If you want your 8,000 calories for your one meal, there you go.
And I did have nuggets with sweet and sour tonight. I can't get past the sweet and sour. And honestly, McDonald's sweet and sour only goes with McDonald's nuggets. You can't do it with Wendy's nuggets or Burger King nuggets. Like it just doesn't go. You can't interchange McNuggets and different sweet and sour sauces or vice versa.
I've never had enough of each product to intertwine them. Actually,
you should try it though. You should do like a video. Do a taste test.
I'm good. I do what I don't. I fear change. I don't need to change anything. I got things going on the right track.
The hot mustard, I haven't tried. They have several new sauces there too. They have a buffalo sauce. They have a sweet chili sauce.
Susie likes
the hot. Let them perfect that first.
I was just gonna say, I kind of like this combo too. I'm shockingly surprised, but now I really, really, really want a burger.
He's gonna. Oh, and you're on the East Coast now, so you got to go. You're going to be eating at 10 o'clock at night, which is bad. You got to get casein protein, and that's it, man.
I'll dream about it tonight, and maybe I'll go there for like a really early lunch tomorrow, or like
get some egg albumin or some casein protein. You want the slow digestion. You don't need burgers like that. Let me take care of that.
I thought the body can't digest casein protein like from milk and stuff, right? Didn't we have the conversation?
They can't from milk, but when it's got the enzyme from powder, the casein from powder, that's a slow digester. It takes about 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
So if you drink it at like 10, 11, your body's metabolizing, burning calories till about 2, 3 a.m. And then so when you eat at 7, when you eat your Baconator at 7 a.m., you're now just fueling the fire with another log only a few hours after you just finished fueling the fire with the old log. And that's how you keep your metabolism going.
Rolling.
It's the old-fashioned way of metabolism kickstarting and burning calories throughout the day. It's Rangers just scored 1-0, and it's never been proven wrong. And I'm not saying that, intermittent fasting doesn't work because people swear by it. I truly don't understand it yet. I get the premise because then your body fights off its fat stores, but that's the same as like when you go to like the keto gimmick. Being in ketosis is bad news, man.
Yes.
You're burning fat rather than freaking your carbs, and that's your body's eating itself.
Like you said,
it's just
sorry.
Go ahead, man.
You said about because I've experimented with a couple of the intermittent fasting cycles. I'm
not bad with. I'm okay with them. They're not as unhealthy.
Love you too, Todd. Good to see you, dude. Yeah, the intermittent fasting is. The 12-6 split is manageable when you get to the 18 or the 12-12 split's manageable. The 18-6 is a little bit tougher, but for like avid gym goers, obviously the two most important meals of the day are the pre and the post meal. So if you need to load in, say say me, I'm trying to eat somewhere between like 3,000 and 3,500 calories a day.
And that's a lot, people. It's what you need, but it's a lot.
Basically, it comes out to 4 solid meals and then 2 supplements. So
that's
2
that's breakfast for me.
At some point,
of course.
But
that's your 28 pancakes.
If you position them at the right time throughout the day, and then you intermittently fast. I mean, they always say try not to eat after 9 p.m. Well, that kind of is dependent on what you're trying to do physically with your body, also. So that doesn't really pertain to everybody, but I found that it did work. It certainly you trim a hell of a lot more while you're asleep. Obviously, we all know that sleeping is one of the biggest things when it actually comes to weight loss. Actually, if you don't know that, read up on it. Sleep is the most important thing for you.
That's how you metabolize more. Your body heals. That's why nobody gets sore. They wake up sore and go, "Oh my God, what did I do yesterday?" And they can't move and they limp out of bed. I don't mean at our age. I mean even just exercise as a young fella.
Well, just think about the days where, say, you don't eat grossly before going to bed, and then days like if you go out and have a drinking night and then you eat gross food at say midnight or 1 o'clock, you're never going to feel good in the morning.
No, you're gonna limp around and probably want to pack on more gross food to just at least taper off that nastiness.
Exactly.
Speaking of trim,
anyways,
if you go to manscaped.com, any purchase at manscaped.com will win you a free bowling ball from Johnny Jr. Use the promo code straight up for 20% off and free shipping. You can order literally anything. Doesn't have to be the biggest package.
Yeah. I did speaking of a trimmer recently.
Really?
I did. And my dog ate my underwear that Ocho is probably displaying right now. Thank you very much, Ocho.
So she can't hit the cutoff man, and she ate your underwear.
Uh-huh.
True to the movie too. They cut that part out. Apparently, Evelyn in the movie ate Jimmy Dugan's underwear for good luck because she couldn't.
This one's and she's.
It was a blooper reel.
Now she's terracing something else right now. I think it's a towel. But we'll get her on the show eventually, and everybody wants to see her. So, what do we want to start with today?
Oh, Rudy Rev's in the house. What's going on, Rudy?
It's good to see you back on the lanes, bro. That was like
I've been watching his.
I've seen this year.
I've been watching his videos on his page. Yeah, he looks great.
Yeah, he sure does. Awesome to have Revs back on the lanes. It just belongs there. That's all there is to it.
Troy Lint is healing up pretty well. I've been watching him kind of get out there and practice and loosen up and get limber, getting ready for the PBA 50 tour. So that's
What did he do your diet for a month and that's he's got to heal up from or something? Is that what happened?
He had knee surgery.
Well, all right, that's similar to doing Rob's diet for a month. The rehab is a little less impactful, but
oh, speaking of Rob, why don't you go ahead and bring everybody up to speed on the first topic you want to talk about that Riggles is writing about?
The first topic I want to cover. Thank you, Mr. Petraglia.
Thank you, host of the show.
Thank you. Very good. Very good. If I can get the right. No, that's not it. Let me get the right.
I do.
No.
Rudy signed with Radical today. How about that?
Did he really?
certainly a
I know these things. He sent me a DM earlier. I was supposed to promote it. Oh, he just wrote it right now.
He just wrote it right
Shoot, I
now.
was supposed
Congratulations,
Damn it.
Rudy.
Sorry.
That's awesome.
He told me like weeks ago, and I kept forgetting. Sorry.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
Trying to find. I have so many screenshots here, and I can't read it because they're so fucking small.
Awesome.
Yeah, my bad, guys. Give me a second to fucking figure it out. There we go. Nope. Hold on. No. Wait. No. Wait. Hold on. They're out of order. God damn it! We got a lot of imbeciles of the week this week too. Hey, why don't you filibuster while I try to figure this out, Johnny?
First, let me research what that word means.
Sorry. Oh, Jesus.
Well, actually, you know what? If you have the most recent picture I sent you, that's actually the first.
Yes.
The
very,
first
very good. There you go. Thank you.
For those of you that don't know or never had the pleasure of meeting this fabulous woman, our deepest condolences to the Scheitzak and to the Sharp family. This is Michelle. Unfortunately, lost her battle with cancer, and it's a little I'm already an emotional enough person, and I didn't get really a chance to properly say goodbye to her before I left Vegas, but she was one of the good ones, and it's just really, really sad that she's gone. So to our entire family, from everybody here at Straight Up 5 and anybody that ever knew Michelle, I mean, rest in peace, girl. You were just a real good egg, and you're going to be missed. So I just wanted to take a couple of minutes there for her.
Yeah, really sorry to hear that, John. It's never good when you ever lose a friend like that, especially cancer sucks so much. And it's funny, like going to my Sunday school class, we always have prayer requests and stuff like that, for whatever's going on. And honestly, like 9 times out of 10, there's at least 5 or 6 people in the room that all say we need prayers for, my friend has stage 5 lymphoma or Hodgkin's, or we have a couple that has a 9-year-old with a brain tumor. Like, I don't know if it's in the food or what, or cell phones or what, but it's like, it's so crazy how like cancer is so prevalent right now. Like more than when we were kids, right? And teenagers and in our 20s. Like now it seems like everybody knows somebody that has cancer. So,
well, you know what it is? That's one of, like, aside from all the wondrous and amazing things that social media and the access to information that everybody has now, all the good it's done, the bad is like you can't make it through a day without hearing bad news. I mean,
yeah.
We lost I mean, we lose people we got to hear about it every single day. It's you're almost like half afraid to just open anything up. At least back then it was like just the news had bad news.
I know.
If you're somebody called your house line to tell you, hey, this guy's not doing good, why don't you send him a card or something like that? Now it's the first thing. It's like, oh shit, you have 20 common friends with this person, so here's the worst thing that happened in their life today or their friends' lives today. So now you got to hear about it.
Yeah.
It sucks, man. And like I meant what I said about her. That's Michael Jackson wrote a song about Ryan White who died in 1992 from complications with a very well-known virus, and the song was called "Gone Too Soon," and she's just gone too soon. That's all. So next subject before I don't want to be fucking crying the entire show.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Nico, I don't know if you saw my post in the group. Congratulations to Bill and Barb Crispin on going to PB Hall of Fame. Yes, I did see that, and thank you for a regular contributor, Nico. We appreciate all the stuff that you bring to our channel and our group. But yes, first subject, and I'm very sorry, John. Again, that totally sucks. All right, Jeff Riggles posted on Facebook a few days ago, or actually last week, the day that we were recording this. We just didn't have time to cover it because Bakes was on. Bowlero's treatment of the PBA website is so atrocious. With Benji Martinez's huge block last night, I went to PBA.com and typed in scoring records in the search bar. Nothing comes up but a list of news releases. See picture on the left below. So I Googled PBA Tour scoring records and got the picture on the right. That is good, except that it says March 2020. So any records set since March 2020 aren't reflected. Now try to find the archives that were a treasure trove on the pre-Bowlero PBA website, or try to find info in the PBA Hall of Fame search at PBA.com. I could go on and on. You're telling the world this isn't a professional sport worthy of being taken seriously when you are the owner and don't take your website seriously. Equals records, archives, Hall of Fame are everything for fans and other people interested in the sport. It has been years since you bought PBA and then, quote, upgraded the website, making it worse. There is no excuse. Do better. It all goes back to what Tom Shannon told Bloomberg more than a decade ago, which is a Bowlero acquisition is sure to be hugely controversial with lovers of the PBA and the sport, considering the infamous statement by CEO Tom Shannon at about the 245 mark in this 2011 interview with Bloomberg. He said, quote, "I don't think anyone takes bowling seriously. Why would you?" That is a statement some will never forgive, or at least they won't trust Bowlero to be good stewards of the PBA and the sport, even as the company has at times supported PBA and now has embraced competitive bowling in the PBA like it never has before, with its Bowlero Elite Series as host of the 2020, and I don't know what was after that, but I did the same thing, and I showed you guys a picture last week. I tried to look up Bake's stats on PBA.com, and there's nothing. He's just a right-handed bowler, and he's 62 years old. And that goes on and on for literally anybody that was a member, currently or former, of the PBA. Now, there are other websites, guys, that you can go search stats, obviously. But when it's your own website and you have nothing since 2020, and you don't have an archive system for your past champions and whatnot, I know we've bitched about Bowlero a lot, and some of it's substantiated, some of it's just being us being cranky or whatever with taking over centers and turning them into fun arcade type places. But this is a big glaring thing that I don't know how many people notice it, or and shouldn't be overlooked. You're not going to be credible in the eyes of anybody else as a legitimate sport. You're only going to be a hobby if you can't properly give people information that they're looking for. What do you think, Johnny?
I agree with you 100%. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. I said I completely agree with you, and it's there really is no excuse for it, honestly. What I'm actually going to add to that here is earlier today when I was Facebook scrolling, I saw a picture of Kyle Troop from his recent win in Indiana, and they wanted to publicly write this, and the post says, "Thanks to our fans, this was the 4th highest rated viewership show on FS1 since 2019." That stat makes us sound cheap.
Yes.
Since joining FS1 5 years ago, this was the 4th most viewed show ever. Awesome. Get the fuck out of here with that nonsense bullshit. But when I go and try and find out about, we'll just use Mark Baker as the example because you just brought him up. Mark Baker, world-renowned coach of everybody, just titan in the industry, PBA champion, and all I know about Mark Baker, according to the PBA website, is he doesn't have a photo. He's 62 years old and he's right-handed.
Yeah,
it's gross. It's to be honest, everything about that website is gross. If you happen to miss a block, for anybody that's ever curious, like for instance, before they make the cut to the top 24, they have one more round of qualifying tomorrow. If you're not there to view the scores as they're happening and then refreshing your page, and they make that cut before you have a chance, do you realize how hard it is to go and actually find the game-by-game scoring for that previous block and not just the total? It's goddamn near impossible. And that's for somebody like me who's into it. Imagine just a random spectator who's randomly, hey, I'm into bowling. I want to see what the best bowlers in the world are in Delaware this week. And if you don't go to that bullshit PBA website and know how to navigate it, you don't even know that.
Yeah.
It's gross. I mean, we talk about it all the time. They're trying to, this is going to sound horrible, but it's the truth, and I'm in some kind of mood right now. They are trying so hard to make you believe that they're doing the right things and that bowling is on the upswing, that we have all these fans and all this. Guys, we got 64 bowlers a week bowling, 20 of which who have a chance to win the title, and the regular events are 25 grand. We're in a shit time slot, and it's not getting better. It just there are certain guys that make the sport look better than it is. Guys like a Kyle Troop, guys like a Belmo. There's guys that make the sport enjoyable, but in general, we are not doing anything to promote ourselves as a sport. We are like I could tell you if I wanted to go find out how many times Greg Maddux started a pitcher with a ball.
I was just going to say, imagine going to MLB.com and typing like who had the last 20 cycles in the and it would come right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like or in 1962 or something like that.
Right.
So go ahead.
Wanted to see how many times Greg Maddux started with a count 2-0 to a batter, and that batter wound up getting more than a double. I could find that like this from baseball. If I want to know how many yards after completion Christian McCaffrey had on an average for his first few seasons in the league, I can get that in an instant. But if I want to know what the PBA scoring record is, the only way I even know that it's higher than Benji's is because A, I know, and B, everybody was talking about how close he was to setting the record. So like you said, it's gross. It's their lack of
it's like a high school when you hear about like high school records, like what's the true way to look them up? Like back when I was in high school, you'd only hear. We didn't have and they probably kept better records than they are doing right now. But like the high school would be like, yeah, here's the fastest guy who ran track, and you could find it, but it was like archived in the library. You had to find someone to get it. It was difficult.
Yeah,
that it's just not. It certainly isn't the most conducive to checking for the average Crambo.
But we have new PBA Leaf trading cards. That's awesome.
Maple Leaf?
Yeah, I have no idea. I go to mcubed.net. They literally have every stat. There's Johnny. We lost him. I go to mcubed.net and they have literally.
But how would somebody even know that? Though? Like it doesn't have anything to do with bowling.
You'd have to Google stats. Like somebody mentioned earlier, Wikipedia has most stats for just about every bowler.
2-0 Rangers.
Nice.
Go Rob.
There wasn't a Wikipedia page for Bakes, which is weird because there's one for usually everybody. But searching around records, I did find mcube.net. But other than that, no, it should be on the main website. I know they're not pulling in as much money as other sports, but you can't tell me they can't assign a couple people like in the social media department to just fucking look up stats, probably on Wikipedia, and just transfer them to the fucking PBA website. Like, pay me to do that. I'll do it for you. It's fucking it's stupid. And Riggles was right on. Like, it's embarrassing that.
It is.
The PBA can't, Bowlero doesn't put enough into it. Like they have an investment. You want to get a return on your investment. The only way to get a return on your investment is to make it appealing to other people. Which, look, I'm gonna give them this. They're doing a better job this year, like including the new All-Star weekend and stuff, which unfortunately Belmo's not gonna be a part of. He mentioned the other day, but skills competition, trick shot stuff. That's gonna be fun to watch. And vote in stuff for. Young guns and get to play with old pros. I think Norm's going to be in it and Pete's going to be in it, and Parker, I believe.
I hope so, Rob. Because honestly, not to cut you off, but
that's fine.
They've tried all of this before. Like there was
Maximum Bob says
I can sign up for tourneys okay on the site though. Yeah.
What's up? Sure. What's up, Bob?
Good call, Robo.
Yeah.
But like for instance, the skill shots. We had a PBA skills challenge segment back when Miller High Life was actually a sponsor, when all the pros were wearing those goofy ass yellow retro jerseys and all that shit. And after a while, there's only so many trick shots you can do on a bowling lane. And there's only so many trick shots that actually have that much appeal that viewer thinks that they can't do. My dad and Roth started the Flying Eagle. I know that Barnes made it more relevant and famous in this day and age.
Right.
But one of the original Brunswick commercials was the trick shot video with Dad and Mark Roth doing the Flying Eagle at the same time. That was cool because even though it's a relatively easy trick shot to pull off, it looks very, very difficult. we've seen Osku throw it basically through the ceiling over a chair. That's pretty impressive because not a lot of people can do that, right? But in general, like everybody likes Norm's towel shot. Okay, I like it too. It's cool. It's a little bit it's a little bit outdated. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
Like there's just nothing really exciting about it to me anymore. And I kind of feel like that's why it went away the first time. It was a segment that I always fast forwarded through on a recorded show. I would never ever ever watch the skills challenge. I just wouldn't do it. It just wasn't fun. So I don't necessarily think it's going to be exciting now just because you're trying to reincarnate it into this all-star weekend. Pete, love Pete to death. Pete looks like he's having a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not going to, he's one of my favorite people on this planet. He always has been, but he did not look healthy at his namesake event. So I'm not sure he's going to look too healthy in the all-star weekend. I hope.
And he's back. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what's
happening.
going on. I have no idea. We lost you a couple times, but no, I get what you're saying. I mean, I got to give him a little bit of credit for trying to get more people interested by having stuff like that, like an All-Star Weekend, and having more tournaments on TV is fun. We are getting more coverage than we did last year, which is cool. And having Just Bear on as a sponsor is a cool thing too. So I mean, they are taking things in the right direction, but clearly there's just so many other areas that they lack in that you don't see on TV, which is
I
very
think
frustrating.
they're trying to tell themselves like, look, the home run derby is the same thing every year.
Right.
The skills shot, the accuracy shot in hockey is the same. The 3-point contest, I think they're probably trying to grab a little of that. But the home run derby is always like the first week of July or something like that. It's like almost ingrained All-Star weekend. Everything is always the same and consistent. All-Star weekend for hockey, 3-point contest for NBA, and they're still trying to find their niche.
Well, last year they did some kind of what the fuck was it, like how many strikes you can throw in like 2 minutes or whatever. It's the strike derby or whatever the fuck they called it. Like,
Yeah.
Stuff like that is okay, but then you had problems of waiting for the fucking rack to come down, and we didn't pause the fucking clock, and it's like almost everything they do usually backfires. So I'm waiting to see what new big kerfuffle is going to happen this year. But if Bowlero isn't willing to fix it, why don't they just sell it? Like, why are they hanging on to this IP if they don't really fucking care what they get out of it?
I mean, I don't know. So I don't want to tell you that I know it and not know. All I know is that we all want them to do better. And for the most part, let's see what Rob has to say, because Rob usually brings some real shit to the table. They need to stop focusing on trying to attract the fringe outlier fan. It's been 20 years of this and it isn't working. They ended up losing a bulk of the diehard fans because it's viewed less as a respected sport and more of a circus sideshow. I couldn't see the rest of the post, but I could not agree with that anymore. 20 years ago, when they brought in Steve Miller from Nike, and they said, "Oh, there's Sam to say hi to Ocho." When they brought in Steve Miller from Nike,
happy birthday, Nicole.
Happy birthday, Nicole. The first thing that he wanted to do was make it more like the WWF. He wanted people talking shit to each other on TV. And I don't know about you guys, but to me, the most unnatural thing in the world is to make guys like Amleto Monticelli force them to talk shit. Amleto Monticelli has never pointed at anybody, grunted. So he's never done anything more than fist pump on television.
Right.
But right then and there, when you have guys that are like sweet as candy and nothing like that, and you're trying to force them to be people like a Pete Weber who do it naturally, or a Jason Couch, or a Brad Angelo, or guys that are just fiery like that and like to get in your face, it's like it's going to a really, really bad local play, like local theater. It's like watching shitty local theater because you can tell that it's fake. You can tell that it's staged. So ever since the inception of that, all they've tried to do is figure out all these ways to fix what was broken. When the fact of the matter is, what's broken is we don't have any sponsors. We don't have any money. Because once you have sponsorship and money, it doesn't really matter what you do. You can do it effectively, right?
Yeah.
Which is it's a shame to say that, money, it kind of is the root of all evil in this respect, because we can't advance in a way that people with money can. And they've tried all these different ways to get money from billionaires outside of the bowling world, i.e. the Microsoft guys.
Yeah.
They're trying to, their hand is so forced right now that they've just, like Rob said, they've been trying to do this for 20 years and it's just flat out not working.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus Christ, how many more years do you think it's going to take to lose the remaining 1.8 million members from the 8 million that we had 40 years ago?
You'd almost hope they're so hard. I don't want to say hardcore. They're just super fans that you have them almost as a failsafe, but it's clearly not enough.
Yeah.
I mean, there's bowlers and league bowlers that watch bowling, but as far as a spectating sport, it's just for some reason, and that's where they're at. But you're right. It's the sponsors. Because when you got sponsors, you got the money. When you got the money, you're on the television. When you get the television, you're on the right time slot.
Mm-hmm.
And now we don't even know what the time slot. It changes tonight. This week it's Saturday night. Next week it's Sunday. Like it's just
Sunday. It's at 2.
If you're not watching cable television, if you don't happen to have FS1 or Fox on to see what time the show is going to be on, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, you have no idea if that show is going to be on FS1, FS2. You have no idea if it's going to be on at 1:30 or 7:30 in the evening.
Yep.
There is, like, for instance, the greatest thing about football, like when I lived in Vegas, 10 a.m. on Sunday, games are on.
Yep.
I'm in Jersey, 1 p.m., games are on. I can take care of all my other shit that I have to take care of. If I want to go watch the Jets at 1 p.m., I can go watch the Jets at 1 p.m.
Which nobody would do, but I get what you're saying.
I mean, who does want to watch the Jets? Seriously.
True story.
But in bowling, it's like, oh, shit, the show's on at 7:30 this weekend? Well, fuck that. I have a birthday.
And a lot of times it's preempted.
Yeah, a lot of times it's preempted.
And you got to go to FS2. You got to go to FS2 in order to watch the beginning of it, because FS1 still has a women's college basketball game on, and FS2 is able to interrupt chess,
right?
And then they can go back to FS1 for your regularly scheduled program at 7:45 rather than 7:30. Well, look what happened at the U.S. Open. It was
it's going to start at 3:30, but then
even the guide on the television said that.
Right. Yeah, it's going to start at 3:30. Oh wait, no, we forgot about the pre-recorded fucking.
If I was that handsome,
show.
I wouldn't mind being frozen like that. Like it's almost like
he looks so good. Yeah,
but I am. I mean, clearly, ladies, I'm more than just this. I'm a mind.
Eric Knudsen says back in the day, ABC had it every Saturday at 3 p.m. So I mean, yeah, that's true. And we have a lot of new people on YouTube tonight. Thank you guys for watching on YouTube as well.
Thank you, YouTube.
Those of you on Facebook, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, just search Straight Up 5 Podcast and leave us a sub. Comment on our videos, like our videos, share it with your friends, get the word out. We're almost up to 500 subs on YouTube now. So
get the comments in there, because I want to see how bad Rob did. Start with that.
Nobody wants that.
Let Rob know where he needs to improve, because I tell him, he just don't care. He don't hear it from me.
Skyers is right. Fanta.
I don't need to.
I like to drink Fanta, but John Fanta sucks. I can't stand. He has no charisma with Randy. The rapport is horrible. I don't know if they just fucking close their eyes and pick the name and drew him out of the hat. Like, you never know who's going to be on Fox with Randy. At least Randy is there every week. But fuck, Fanta sucks. I agree with that.
I like Fanta.
They got good grape soda.
I like their orange one.
Oh, beat me to it.
Sorry, I don't know why I keep getting disconnected. It is hella. I just said hella.
Hella, Wendy. Yeah.
Welcome to 2002. All right.
Wendy outside, and I have a feeling that maybe disrupting my internet connection, even though my internet hasn't failed once, or at least, anyway, it doesn't matter.
That's quarantine lady doing that to you. She's upset.
Pineapple Fanta is
or
really
to stay awake the next time I come over.
No, she is. That was a pose.
Nico says he doesn't know when to shut up and let the moment breathe. They were talking over Kyle celebrating last weekend. Yeah, and he's like yelling in their backswing, and like it's horrible. I'll never say anything bad about Dave O'Brien or Rob Stone. It's actually what Belmo said. I won't say anything bad about Rob Stone ever again.
Did you combine two names?
No.
You said Dave LeBryan.
No, Dave,
Are you talking about
Dave O'Brien? Dave O'Brien.
I thought it was. Isn't there a Lamont and Dave Ryan?
There's a Ned Lamont, and isn't there a O'Brien somewhere? No, maybe it's.
Maybe I don't know. I'm just trying. I know there's a Dave Ryan.
Because we're kind of just babbling here.
We are.
Before
Yes.
we keep going, I have a question for the people in the chat as well as you guys. If you guys saw the show this past week in Indiana, how do we feel now? Granted, I love reading. I love it, and I especially love authors like Joe Dispenza, Esther Hicks. I love self-improvement books. I mean.
Yes.
I thought it was Dave Lamont, by the way.
You're still on that fucking thing, both of you?
He will. Chuck just freaking gave it to me. I'm listening. Chicken soup for the bowler. I got you. Right. You're all in.
One of the most recognizable faces in our sport, and the champion, was sitting there reading a book.
The entire time, actually.
The entire time. And I personally sat there and said, talk about making this look like less of a sport.
Yeah.
This is the way to do it. You're bowling for $25,000, a PBA championship, and you're sitting there
at Barnes and Noble.
He wasn't even there. He was.
Oh shit! I thought he was going to say something. But that's. I mean, so I figured it was like he was on this chapter of like self-help and like when throwing your last shot. Like I swear I was like, I wish they would have referenced it because he'd have been like, well, I was looking at my notes from my sports psychologist or something, but never even came about. And he's just sitting there hanging out at Barnes and Noble having a caramel macchiato. It looked like
we have varying opinions.
That's kind
here.
of what my point is, and
he did ride.
We got to get Johnny Senior to switch over to Google Fiber or Apple Fiber.
Can you hear me?
No,
I can hear you now. Yes.
Oh, now we
can hear me.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry about the connection, guys. It's really fucking aggravating. This.
Whenever you get unfettered, it kind of like cuts out.
We're not allowed to be fettered anymore, I guess.
What I'm saying here is we already have conflicting answers coming in. We have people saying that it wasn't distracting the other bowlers. We have people saying that it shouldn't be allowed. We have people saying that he didn't look up. My thought here is it's the lack of engagement. It's, dude, if I'm bowling for a PBA title, I'm bowling for a PBA title. And this is, again, it's not a knock on Kyle. It's a knock on what it looks like, I would say, to the few viewers that we have left. Like, is this, I don't know. I think Kyle is not a cocky person. He is so well-mannered. He's so perfect for the sport. And it just seemed to be like a very, I don't know. I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it. And I was curious and it seems like most of the comments that are rolling in, people seem to feel the same way.
What, I mean, like, I feel like there could have been you missed this part. What I said was there could have been an excerpt he kept reading that his sports psychologist told him to, and like maybe that's what kept him in this calm demeanor. But at least reference it after and be like, well, it was Friedrich Nietzsche, and what he says is be the ball or something like that. I don't know. I'm really reaching for this one, but just to give a reference to it, where he's like, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not sitting at Barnes and Noble. I'm trying to and reinforce this positive outlook that I'm going to do good. I'm going to be in the moment, but I can't tell him what to say either.
I mean, and this is a good question here. What's the difference between reading that and the inner monologue of thought? Like, was he actually reading? It seemed if he was looking at it, but repeating a phrase to himself before.
I was looking to see if he was like flipping pages, but if you looked, there was one part where you could see highlighted stuff.
Right.
It was a quick moment. And I lucked out because I don't have the rewind gimmick, but it was, I mean, look, golfers read yardage books, but that's literally for how far they're going to hit the ball.
Of course.
Like if this was lane topography and he's going over that, I could see that. It was like chicken soup for the Bowlero.
Steph says, devil's advocate, do we think it was a form of mental defense against his opponent and act like I'm so good at this and this is so normal that I'm just going to sit here and act like it's any other day? It could have been.
Possibly. It could have been. And that's kind
You see guys not watch the other bowler too. Remember, they put their towel over the face. They don't want to watch. They don't want to engage. But that's also like, I think that's different. It's not
It
like
is
you're pulling
different.
out.
And honestly,
Oprah's book club.
reciting it while you're on the approach, I do that shit too. Totally get that. I like people write on pieces. They'll put a piece of tape on their shoe that says walk straight or follow through. People do shit like that all the time. I'm not knocking it. I'm knocking what it looks like on television.
Right.
Because on television, to me, what it looks like is a complete disinterest while you're trying to achieve the ultimate goal in the sport that makes you fucking numb.
Yeah, that's true. Like, no biggie.
Like,
if I lose, I'll just finish my.
It's fucking nuts to me.
What if it was the Notebook? What if it was actually the Notebook?
Because I keep getting cut out, and so if I'm over talking with you guys, I don't know what my.
You're good. You're good.
I want to finish my fucking thought.
Sure.
So that's all I'm trying to say is I wanted to get everybody's view, and it seems there's some people that are basically saying it didn't matter, it wasn't bothering anybody. What's this difference? What's that difference? There is no difference. The only thing I was trying to get an idea here was what the general consensus was.
And what if it was a rom-com or something like that?
And this
I'm at the best part.
He's making some good points here, but dude, Kyle, this isn't Kyle's first show. If Kyle had anxiety, he's already got anxiety, and he's figured out a way to handle it for the last 7 or 8 years.
Not even his first show. He's won. And he's freaking what? 7 times, 8 times
this year. He wasn't reading a book.
Right.
He won the playoffs, almost $500,000 in one season. He wasn't reading a fucking book. He was just kicking the living shit out of everybody, doing what Kyle does, picking his fro, making perfect shots, and being the best bowler to the fans. He's like the epitome of what you want a professional to be. So it was shocking to me to see somebody who I view that way do something that made it look like, I've basically done everything. This guy's not going to strike. No way Kyle was doing that to mindfuck his opponent. There's absolutely no way. And maybe he did hit a stint where he needed to keep himself in control or slow himself down. And again, it's not a knock on the idea of it. Walter A. Williams Jr. documents every single shot he throws. Stephanie, when she bowls league, she has a book dedicated to every single shot she throws in league. People do it in every aspect to get their brain right. I get that.
But not on national television.
This is the first time I've seen Kyle do it. And not only did he read the book on national television, he literally did not even look up once while he was on. He may as well have been on a beach somewhere drinking a Corona and reading that book. That's what it looked like. Like,
I get it.
When you see the guys looking at the Microsoft Surface on the NFL sidelines, they're not looking at chapters in a novel. They're looking at plays. They're getting themselves ready. When they go and talk to the ball reps in bowling, they're going to talk about what the move should be, what the ball change should be, what's happening with the breakdown. They're not going over there to say, did you happen to read chapter 6 of Gone with the Wind when this was said? No, they're doing shit that's relevant to what they're doing. Now, granted, the information in that book may have very well been the thing that helped Kyle get over the hump and win again. It may have very well been. Again, just didn't like the placement of the book.
I agree.
FYI, Ocho documents every shot he does at the bowling alley too, and usually it's about 7 or 8 per night. And I still have a legal pad that says how many I've done, and the caloric intake, and how many ladies I was with afterwards. So that's just for Ocho's purposes. I document things too.
Ryan Galley, yes, that's 100% where you want to be mentally, 100%. But it's not what the viewers want to see.
Agreed.
I'm not talking about.
You think they'll say it looks too easy, basically, or just like because everyone, like you said, because the other guys were at the ball reps and like, oh, man,
imagine it being the bottom of the 9th, and your guy gets up with 2 runners on, and you guys are down 2, and he hits a home run. And as he's trotting around the bases,
he's reading a book for the baseball.
Or when he steps on home plate and people go to give him a high five, he grabs a pamphlet out of his back pocket and says, "This is the best part of my book."
Leave me alone.
It's fucking horrible.
These are good points.
George, I know, dude. I'm sorry. It's fucking gross, man. I got to come see you soon, dude. I'm leaving.
Check out Georgie Shore for a badass haircut.
I'm ready.
Go to sweetblends.com. That's SUITEBLN.
There it is.
George, what can you do with this gimmick right here?
Sweetblends.com.
Come on.
To me, it's disrespectful.
My own professional manscaper. unlike.
Well,
hold on now.
At least, okay. Well, guess what? A new advertisement for next week. Johnny getting
Hey, look.
manscaped by George.
Look,
Brought to you by Straight Up 5.
Rochelle used to groom me. She used to take care of my back hair and all that shit. I look like
And the front
I look
hair.
like Sasquatch now. So if it wasn't for George at least cleaning up the neck and the head, I would look like Rob.
No, you don't. You could never do that.
No, never, ever.
Cripes. You'd have to wrap yourself in cellophane, mayonnaise, and another bunch of freaking, and then roll around in whiskers.
Just to put a bow on this, because a lot of people think we, Sleep the Rack wasted too much time talking about the book thing, but it's to me, just looking at it outwardly. If I'm a casual fan, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? That's disrespectful to his opponent. And again, it's not a good look. Like I'm watching this guy read a book. Like, who the fuck does he think he is? I am. Yes. Cool. So yeah, we got a split crowd on it. Some people don't care. Some people think it's disrespectful. So I don't know. What I do want to talk about that is completely disrespectful. Everybody knows the real Mr. 900, the originator, Glenn Allison, who never got recognized from the USBC for his 900 that he shot, I don't know, 50 years ago, something like that. But he is making history by being in, I think it's his 74th USBC Open Championships this week. I don't know the exact number. I'm sure Nico or somebody else does. But that's really, really cool. That number one, he's still alive to be able to do that. And
he was young.
Yeah, it's amazing. But Wriggles, again, who does extensive research on literally everything, mentioned that Chad Murphy talked about it, I think somewhere around 2016, 2017. He literally said, I've looked at all the records, I pulled all the sheets, blah, 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 blah. For whatever reason, certain numbers aren't recognized. It never really gave like a true answer. It just kind of danced around it. But he basically said that Glenn will never be recognized for throwing a 900 for whatever reason. But they want to make a big deal out of him. And it is a big deal. Honestly, I'm not taking away the fact that he's able to still bowl. But they're touting that and not even wanting to talk about the 900 that he threw, which is fucked. It's been litigated. He took the USBC to court, and I guess that's for whatever reason that never worked. But it's just, and they introduced Nico. They introduced him as Mr. 900. But that's a slap in the fucking face, dude. That's completely disrespectful. It's like bringing him out there like a fucking show pony, because this 90-something-year-old guy is able to bowl, but don't want to fucking give him credit for what he did many years ago, before fucking, before I don't even know if he threw urethane back then, like before synthetic lanes, before fucking resin and all that. Like, this dude shot 900. It's fucked. It's always been fucked, but I just don't like them trotting him out there and not recognize. I don't know. It makes me angry.
Well, what Nico said was my entire point behind the thing. It's, you won't give this guy the credit that he so deserves, but you will call him Mr. 900 at the ripe old age of 93, bowling his 70-something championship.
Yeah. 72.
But like Chuck just said, but they allow and accept Robert Muster's multiple 900s in his family's closed bowling alley. The Glenn Allison 900 thing is comparable to the Pete Rose betting on baseball thing for me.
Sure.
The only difference is if Pete Rose were to walk out on a field right now and they were to introduce him as the player with the most hits all time, 4,000 and change, 4,100, whatever it was, it's a slap in the goddamn face, right? To Pete
Right.
Rose, if you're not going to recognize him in the Hall for his achievement, like the same way you induct Joe Mauer into the Hall of Fame, but you don't take Don Mattingly, even though they have exact same numbers in baseball.
Exactly.
What's happening with this is I think it's gross. If you're going to call him Mr. 900, change the fucking asterisk in your book. Give the man what he deserves. He's 93 goddamn years old. He did it with a fucking yellow dot, for Christ's sake. And he did it well over 40 years ago. We're going back like 60 years ago, when this is like before even there was even a consistent shot laid out on the lanes. Some of the lane surfaces were still shellac and lacquer. The pins didn't have flat bottoms. Brian Bogosian, Masters champion.
What's up, Brian?
Thank you very much, Bogosian. 1982. So actually, you were right, Rob. I stand corrected there. It's almost gut wrenching to hear that they introduced him as Mr. 900 and know that they have absolutely no plans to actually give the man credit for being the first one to ever do it. But then again, it doesn't shock me because nothing the USBC shocks me. They are literally. There's a movie that I love called Shark Tale, where Will Ferrell is a fish, and he wants to be rich. And I think Martin Scorsese is the guy he borrows money from. He's a puffer fish. And he's going down the line, the chain of like command. There's sharks, there's there's whale shit, and then there's you. That's where USBC is below whale shit in my eyes. And nothing is going. I already told my team this year. After the debacle that I had going into that fucking room last year because my collarless shirt or this fucking nonsense, I can't wait to go in there this year wearing a collarless shirt tucked into a kilt. I can't wait to see if they tell me I'm not allowed to wear a kilt.
I can't wait. I want to see that.
Just every fucking thing that they do drives me up the wall just a little bit more. And it's amazing that they seemingly have never done anything that's right.
No. And as much as we complain about Bowlero, USBC is equally, if not worse, than Bowlero, which is sad because that does represent.
The only thing really that's like worse than the USBC is, you know what? I probably shouldn't say that.
No, fuck it. It's unfettered,
It's
Johnny.
probably the only guy that was worse than them, if for anybody that knows what that means.
Ah, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it amazes me, like, and even like Chad Murphy's State of the Union address that he always puts out. The one he put out this year was like touting all the fucking numbers. Oh, we got a 30% increase in fucking league ballers this year, blah, blah, blah. But then doesn't give a fuck about anybody. Literally, like he just. I like Tom Clark, and we are going to get him on the show at some point, probably when the season's over because he's so busy. But I wouldn't fucking piss on Chad Murphy if he's on fire. I would never want him on the show because I would not have anything nice to say about him at all. At least Tom Clark cares about bowling.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that Tom has tried. He may have been unsuccessful in a lot of his efforts, but Tom tries. Tom tries. Tom started out his career, I mean, of what I know of Tom was a journalist. He actually tried to bowl an event just to see how good the pros really were. And he is certainly trying to continue to make something work. Drew, it's good to see you, bro. See you soon, too. Yeah, that's the other thing that's everyone's saying. Anyway, this is always a USBC bashing show. Which, speaking of which, for those of you that haven't checked out Fancy Williams' post about the legend Judy Sutar, they're trying to get a petition signed saying that Judy should be entered into the Hall of Fame under a different status. And I didn't really understand what that meant because, in my eyes, Judy Sutar she's one of the best to ever throw a bowling ball, right? And, well, apparently she's in the Hall of Fame under, I believe, meritorious service and not performance. Is, at least thank goodness she's in, but it's a little gross that Judy Sutar would go in for anything above her talent on the lanes. So if you go hit up Fancy's post or want to get a little bit more information about that, let's get Judy Sutar's status changed for in there for superior performance on the lanes, amongst everything else that she's done for the sport. But that's really the way.
I absolutely agree with that, and that kind of goes along the same lines of what we mentioned a few weeks ago about them creating a new category, I guess, or something for the PBA Hall of Fame and putting guys in that may have 5, 6, or 7 titles in one major and a separate part of the Hall of Fame or a different category. Or to me, it's just an asterisk, right? It's just like it's not the same thing. So, but no, you're right. She should be in for her career. It's like a participation trophy, like your meritorious service. All right, well, how many people can they give that to? Like 30, 40 different people? Like what's the prerequisite for that? It's just because you're friends with somebody or You know what I mean? Like, there's no. I don't even know what the
Sure.
requirements are for something like that. But anyway, what else do I want to cover?
Dude, your Halloween just started getting over here. I just heard my garbage can flipping over.
Well, it's funny because
It
it's
just left
up
here, so
You literally sent Halloween to where you should have been, and now we're suffering the effects.
we had Halloween last night. So
Christ.
Well, maybe you'll lose your
And maybe I
connection
won't.
now,
What do you think
and
of
you
that? Because I got these.
Blame it on the
how about to catch me outside?
Yeah.
Player of the year is starting to heat up, especially with Kyle with the second win. EJ making every fucking show, and you still got Bill O'Neill, right outside there, and like it's if Belmo would have played more this year, I mean, people are gonna say like, oh well, maybe Belmo should be in the fucking top 10, but he takes all the like whatever. Like people just are dicks and want to fucking comment on what he does with his life. But that being said, the year isn't that long. I think we're even to halfway through right now. Who do you like, Johnny? Give me your top 3 right now. If the season were to end today, who do you think would make the running for voting for player of the year?
Kyle, definitely the front runner. And that's going to be my pick for this year's player of the year, period, just based off what I've seen. This year, obviously, I think Nico Simo is always in the hunt. He's not my top 3 right now. But what I think is happening this year, the trend that I've noticed is with the exclusion of the purple hammers and the softer urethanes, the slow curve with a lot of down lane motion has come back into play this year more so than in years
Kyle's
past.
an effortless guy too. Like just ball falls off his hand, has a late flip, and it's just all forward roll.
And the other guys that you see, like it's not just like Zach Wilkins is a great player, but he didn't just wake up this year and all of a sudden he's a top 10 player. What Zach Wilkins likes to do is working this year. The same way.
Scroggy, call it Scroggy.
Nothing really working on the left side this year, especially. I mean, it looks like 4 lefties may make it in the field this week at the into the top 24. And look, there was only 13 lefties competing, and if you comprise, the 25% of the field of the 64-man field, there should be about 5 represented in the top 24. But what people forget to realize is the high lefty in the tournament right now is being out averaged by the high righty by 15 pins a game. So once they get into match play, I don't know if it's matches or match play this week, eventually what's been happening on the left is going to continue happening on the left. So you will not see a lefty even in the player of the year hunt this year based on what we've seen so far. But the slow curvy guys who like all of a sudden Christian Ascone is back up on the top. Why? Because he can slow curve it. You see all these. The guy who's bowling the best, and I would put up there in contention, is Bill O'Neill. Bill O'Neill is a traditionalist that can do virtually anything with a bowling ball, and he is figuring out a way to be in the hunt every week along with
that should be Prather's bread and butter a little bit too. Like you'd think we'd see. I honestly don't know how he's done. I'm the guy who if you're on TV, I know how good you did. That's about it.
I've watched him. So, he looks frustrated, honestly.
Really, because you'd almost think like that should be his bread and butter, the slow hook guy.
Yeah.
You would think he hasn't been. He hasn't made any shows in a while. He's been having a little bit of a rough go and coming off of some pretty solid years. It's no wonder why Prather is frustrated. I mean, he's one of the best talents we've ever seen. But my 3 front runners for the player of the year is obviously Kyle is way ahead in my book. And then I got Bill and EJ behind him. I'd like to believe that Marshall could be up there. Simply because I want Marshall to keep having an excellent year. I mean, who's having a good week so far this week is our boy Brad Miller.
Yep.
I root for him purposely just because of you.
I do too.
Of course you do. Just because you
want you upset. I want you on a level playing field. I don't want you Mr. Happy.
This is usually the time that Steph comes in and tells me how great of a person he is, and then I remind her that I know that. It's just a personal vendetta I have with myself and my brain and his overall.
I want him to win. I want him to win so we can have him on the show.
No, but he might one day. No, but it's going to happen. One day they're going to be at a tournament. Johnny's going to choke on a freaking grilled chicken sandwich, and Brad Miller's going to Heimlich him and mouth to mouth him and be indebted to him for the rest of his life. That's literally what's going to happen.
Let me die. Let me die.
Kyle's gonna do
Honestly.
the mouth to mouth. Brad's gonna do the Heimlich.
I'm trying to think about how high the ratings would be if Brad Miller bowled Nathan Bohr on TV. I mean, I can't. I'm trying to think of like what match I'd rather see less than that one.
We have a lot of new YouTube viewers tonight. That's really, really cool.
I was just gonna say, special shout out to all of our newbies here. I don't even
You guys have been
recognize half
missing
of these names.
this whole
That's
time.
true. I did feel bad for
Carry
Marshall.
bowling balls on my arms, and they carry them in a bag.
I do feel bad for Marshall, but he's bowling fantastic right now, and it's good to see that. Butters is on the cusp, and just seems to kind of lose it in match play. Who else? Kim Balaby is bowling a lot better right now, and is a very, very talented bowler. And he's just off at just a niche. But again, if it like we saw with Packy last year, you could just all things could click all of a sudden, and you go on a fucking run. So I mean, there's a bunch of guys that are in the hunt.
But you see, Rob, that's kind of the problem with the left side.
It's the Mike Scroggins effect. Call it that.
It can't just click. You either have to have the trick or accept where you're going to finish. And with these formats, these conditions, and going to say it, the elimination of certain bowling balls, it's very, very hard to keep up. We've seen this throughout history in bowling. This happens frequently. And then the problem is the minute you give the left a little bit of an edge or even make them, even or fair gutter to gutter, they still, then they get bitched at that the lefties are bowling too well. And then when you do it the other way, you have what we've had these last few weeks where there's not a lefty in sight. There's as many lefties comprising the bottom of the field as there are represented in the top 24 of the field. There is no such thing as 3 lefties in, 3 in the middle, 3 at the bottom. They're either at the bottom or at the top. Or if you're Ryan Simonelli, you just withdraw at the start of the tournament. That's it. That's truth. That's what's happening out there. So this year's player of the year is definitely going to be a righty. It's most likely going to be a righty that curves it, and it's most likely going to be Kyle True. Nico, good point there. Matt Russo is one of the few. And again, who do you know on the left side of the lane that curves it more softly and throws it slower than
less
Matt
revs
Russo?
than most, and he's a slow hooker like the women I used to be with.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. Me too. I mean, so that there are, and that's one lefty that we're talking about. What about guys with talent like, I don't know, let's just like take a couple. Justin Knowles had a great season last year. Where's he been? He's at the bottom almost every single week. Actually, no, he's not at the bottom almost every single week. He's been towards the bottom these last few weeks. We talked about Ryan withdrawing. We talk about, I talk to Buttriff frequently, and I've never seen Butters so fried out week to week about something. And that's all residue of what's happening out on the lanes. Things don't bother you as much if you can get there. But if you can't get there and you're literally doing everything you can to get there, that's when
all the
shit
stuff that
starts
used
to
to
frustrate
work, and you're going, shoot, what am I doing wrong? This used to work.
We're talking about Packy. When's the last time you saw Packy on a TV show? And where is Packy? Packy was, breakout year last year. We don't see him anymore. And again, it's all, unfortunately, one of the reasons why this sport isn't a sport is because there's too many variables that dictate who is the best. And the haters and the people that disagree with what I'm saying, they will sit here and say, I watch the shows every week. Those guys are hitting exactly what they're looking at. If you just practice and you go out there with the right mindset and you hit what you're looking at, you're going to come out
like
on
Napoleon
top.
Dynamite's brother.
Usually what happens.
I've been talking to babes all day on lunch.
That's not true. That's not true all the time. It's not fucking true. You could work your absolute ass off, but if you don't have any leeway and somebody else does, you can't keep up.
You can't win.
Graham Fa is the same way. Yeah, that's exactly right, Brian.
It's suicide. You've seen him. You know how strong he is.
Ian Lang is currently reading Mind Gym during league.
1,550 pounds.
Whatever he hits, he destroys.
Yeah, I agree with that, Ian. Then again, Ian don't have to read shit. He just looks at the pins and they fall.
That's very
Same
true.
as Ocho.
But
who was wanting to bowl me before? I stare at him like $6 million man Steve Austin. And they're like, my bad, just like my sleeve.
What?
My bad. I'll lay down for you.
What? You said Steve Austin. I was just doing
the $6 million man, you dummy.
Who was his boss's name?
His boss?
Yeah, the $6 million
the guy
man's
that
boss.
used to put him on the. I don't remember, dude. I just remember Lee Majors, $6 million man. He was. We can rebuild him. We had the technology.
Yes, absolutely. Here we go. That's a good segue, Johnny.
It's about time.
It's
It should
probably
be Rob
next.
again.
Time for everybody's favorite segment.
If you guys don't know how to use a seatbelt, just ring your call button and Tommy will come back there and hit you on the head with a tack hammer.
You know, Lloyd, just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
Here's the Imbecile of the Week.
Some people are really stupid.
All right, so I'm having a hard time because there's so much out there. There's just social media is just a treasure trove of fucking idiots. But let's start.
You are going to post you, aren't you?
Let's start with this one.
Oh, never mind.
Noel Junio from the Bowling Science Facebook group said, "Not that I need an excuse to buy a new ball, but it shows a picture of a cracked hammer NV Tour, which is unfortunate. Look, there's many reasons why balls crack. I've had the same two balls for the last 30 years and have kept them in New England.
And they're used just as little as the other ones.
Kept them in the cold. I've kept them in the summer, in the heat, New England winters, and they still fucking roll and they've never cracked. So anyway, Johnny's fondling the ball. Jim Britt said, "Them old retired balls burn quite well in a campfire." To which Randy Kirkland said, "Jim Britt, nasty fumes. No way that's a good thing." To which Jim said, "Not really if you stay upwind." New ball.
That's homesteading 101. I'm a survivalist.
Noel said, "No amount of lessons is going to help the giant crack in the ball." To which Jim Britt also responded, "I had the original Nirvana cracked around the fingers, so I super glued it back into place. It rolls like a charm on the fresh." I don't know if this guy's fucking trolling or if he's just an asshole. So, Mike Davis says, "It's from the gutter. The gutter has a little metal piece about 10 feet from the pins. Constantly hitting it causes the ball to crack." All right, I'm calling bullshit on this one, Johnny. Wouldn't everybody fucking lose their bowling balls if they fucking threw one in a channel because there's a nail in there? It's a very dangerous nail, apparently, that just fucking...
Well, that might be a joke that it's like he does it 45 times a game.
Yes.
What, Johnny? Yeah.
I'm going to go with yes.
So, yeah. Thomas Edwards says, "So they can make more money. I've had about a dozen break myself." That comments like that really piss me off. Matt Bartle says something along the same lines. "It's an effort by the bowling ball companies to get you to purchase more than one ball every 5 years." Look, you fucking morons.
5 years?
They're warranted for 2 years. If you have a ball crack within those 2 years, they're going to replace it. Since they release balls literally every fucking month now, why would they even make a ball that would do something like that, for one? And number two, they can't make any money on it. They're constantly fucking, refunding balls or making new ones to send to you. Like, that's such a stupid back-ass fucking comment that I think that guy should be fucking in the running. But
well, who's the imbecile? What was the imbecile?
I mean, I think all of them are imbeciles to me. But I mean, I can.
Well, here, because I like the guy's original post. Bowling balls do crack, and like you just said, with the amount of bowling balls that come out on a monthly basis now, the production has to go down, compared to years past. The other thing is the exterior shell of the bowling ball is so much more shallow than it used to be, say, even in the early resin era, when most bowling balls were two pieces, like the Purple Hammer, but, their bowling balls are more subject to the elements when the outer shell is so thin compared to the thickness of the inner core and then the actual weight block. You drill into a bowling ball, you've got maybe, on most bowling balls, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch of outer shell, 3/8 of an inch outer shell. And so from there, let's say, just going from a place of the climate where it's like 100 degrees in the summer and then to a place where it's 10 degrees below. If you leave those bowling balls in the car, they're going to expand, contract, and eventually it's going to split that outer surface. It happens. That doesn't happen to urethane bowling balls. It happens to resin bowling balls. It happens to plastic and polyester bowling balls. So it is it's something that's part of the game. Bowling balls will crack, especially if you don't maintain. When I had my shop at Sunset Station in Vegas, if we didn't rotate the balls on the display balls on the wall every so often, just from sitting on one spot for too long, a ball can crack. A ball can actually crack sitting on a shelf wall. It could crack sitting on the floor in your house if you don't get it off.
How about this asshole? Nothing cracks like a hammer.
Yeah, he's trying to be cute. I mean, I'll give him that.
All right, how about Peter Brown? Crack it in half, then you can justify buying 2 half balls to replace it. Not your fault they only come as a whole, so need 2 pieces to replace the 2 broken pieces you now have. I don't get it. He's trying to be funny.
It's not though. It's not. It's very not funny.
If that's an attempt to be funny, I want you to get that guy on the show so we can let him know from here on out.
Okay.
Stop.
We're gonna throw baloney at him through the computer, basically.
Pretty much.
Crack it in half, then you can justify buying 2 half balls to replace it. Not your fault they only come as a whole. So need 2 pieces to replace the 2 broken pieces.
Because that's common too. They sell half bowling balls all the time on halfbowl.com.
Can we just name Peter Brown the Imbecile of the Week for?
I'll give it to that guy. That guy can eat it for whatever.
You're welcome, Peter. Enjoy your half bowling ball and scoop it out. Make a salad, you fat fuck. Probably.
I have better ones for next week. I don't want to waste them all in 1 week, but I do have others.
No, don't waste all your comments in 1 week.
No,
Rob.
of course
we
not. I would never.
Just troll Rob's page. You'll see the imbecile.
Peter Brown. If you're watching or listening, congratulations. You are this week.
He's listening.
Imbecile of the Week. Congratulations. You win nothing. But the tiers.
But go to manscaped.com and enter the promo code StraightUp5 because
if you do, I'll send you a half a ball. I'll send you a half a ball.
Yeah, if you win, you get a half a bowling ball from Johnny Petraglia Jr. You probably need it because you're a freaking half-breed, half bowling ball inbred, hair, neck beard, fuckface.
Barone says that may be the dumbest comment ever. Chimalecki says, I need to sue that guy for killing my brain cells.
Well, there's no evidence of true killing, but like it's possible. And now we have to anybody who comments in the comment section about brain cells, then we might have a class action suit. Ocho knows this.
Chuck Ritchie says, "How caught up are you on your emails? Did you get to 2019 yet?"
We're not even close. We're at 2014 right now.
Still going through the. What was the old?
Somebody asked about an Attitude 3 about their bowling ball.
I'm still going through our Hotmail account.
Where is that comment about the Attitude 3?
There isn't. I said it was. Oh shit! I know it's your favorite, one of your favorites, because I had it. Mike Floor gave it to me, the bartender at the bowling alley.
Mike, have you douchebag, Oach?
All
right, guys.
Chris's brother, Mike.
That's all we got for this week.
What's our Twitter, Rob? Way to do the plugs. Way to get him in there halfway through the show, like we're supposed to, you dummy.
Nobody uses social media anymore, Ojo. Nobody.
Doesn't matter. You plug the show. We're straight up 5, not at the end. We're in the halfway point. And look at your Twitter. It's gonna blow up when everybody tweet Rob and ask, and he says, "Where am I?" Just put your response in.
Right at the bottom of the page.
It's not a fill. It's a fill in the blank. It's not a vote. You fill in the blank. Where is Rob? Where do you see him at all your time in your life?
Where in the world is Rob Francois? Usually at Popeyes.
And the game's over. Game's over right there.
I got my.
I'm going. Go in first. Start the trend, and then we'll all just piggyback, or just say same. I guess.
Same.
We love last week's guest, Mark Baker. Please visit Vimeo and check out The Game's Changed program for one-handers and two-handers. It's $75 each, or $150 for the pair, and it's a great video. I bought it after having him on last week. Even though he would have given me a free code, I still got the money for it, or you gave the money for it anyway. And you can learn a lot from Baker, one of the best coaches in the entire world. And we love having him on the show. We're going to have him on again in the future. And we got very, very good feedback on our YouTube channel about how many people enjoyed watching Bakes on the show. So shout out to Bake. Shout out to Maximum Bob for being here tonight. We always love him. Troy is absent tonight.
Thank you.
Sure what's going on with Troy. We love you, Troy. And,
don't do any of Rob's health advice.
PBA greats. Rudy Revs, thanks for
Bogosian.
being here. Brian Bogosian.
I haven't seen him in 20 years. Yeah.
I haven't seen.
I don't hold anybody on a pedestal. Thank you to everybody for being here.
Chuck Ritchie,
That's just Ocho.
I'm still planning on coming to Spartanburg. The PBA 50 regional is going to be there. It's about 5 hours from me, so I'm going to try for sure to be there. Since my wife left me and went to Florida with my kid for the week, I think I owe myself.
Oh, it should have been permanent. That would have been better.
I owe myself a trip, so I think I'm going.
Surprised you didn't write Vacation instead of Home Alone.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
No, obviously you love your family, but it's got to be kind of like.
Well, let's see. Well, first of all, let's see if they come back.
Oh, I can go to bed at 8:30 tonight, so that's fantastic.
No, but let's see if they come back, because I feel like next week Rob's going to be like, "Oh, my wife and my kid are still in Florida. They had a hurricane, but even though the weather was fine, and then in a month, and I'm still home alone, and the wife is down there. She met this guy."
Roger Meany, thanks for showing up at the end of the show, brother. Good to see you. Appreciate it.
Don't ever call Ocho that.
Yes,
fuck Doc Sullivan.
Fuck Doc Sullivan for Troy Lint there. We love you, Troy. Hopefully you're okay and you're just too busy for us because you are a PBA 50 US champ, for Christ's sakes, and player of the year. So all right, guys, we'll be back next week for episode 107. Not sure what we're gonna talk about, not sure who's gonna be on here. You never know what's gonna happen on Straight Up 5. Stephen Engel, what's up? Dude, there's so many people tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, right on recorded. He did right. End the show.
Rambo! Johnny's hungry. We got to go. See you next week. Take care, guys. Fuck you, Doc Sullivan. Peace out. Bye, Evelyn. Hit the cutoff, man.
Hey,
JP.